Black women are one of the most powerful voting blocs in the country because of our high rates of voter participation and because well over 90% of Black women vote as a bloc. And yet, Black women are grossly underrepresented in our current political landscape. There are currently no Black women in the United States Senate since Kamala Harris's ascension to the vice presidency. While several states have still never elected a Black woman representative to Congress, and no state has ever elected a Black woman governor. But all of that could change this year, as a historic number of Black women are running in competitive races in what could be a barrier-breaking midterm election. NBC's Yamiche Alcindor sat down with some of these women.
We're doing what we've always done for this nation, and that's rise up to make a difference.
We are enduring, and we can get through anything, and we can do anything.
Black women have always been capable of leading.
They are Black women chasing history. A record number of candidates this year hoping to shatter double-pane glass ceilings and overcome challenges related to race and gender. In Florida, Democrat Val Demings, if elected, would be just the third Black woman senator.
There are currently no Black women serving in the U.S. Senate. What's the significance of that?
It should reflect the diversity of America. When we think about the talent, the skills, the strength of Black women, we bring not only diversity in terms of her ethnic background, but we bring a diversity of perspectives and experiences.
She's in an uphill battle to defeat Republican Senator Marco Rubio.
Are you guys ready to win in November?
And argues she would work to protect abortion rights, provide adequate policing for communities, and make investments in education.
We need to hold America to its promise in addressing some of the social ills that cause decay in communities in the first place.
Black women make up a small number of elected officials. Vice President Kamala Harris, the highest ranking.
The duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
But now a historic number of them are running for national office. 56 women seeking House seats, 4 running for U.S. Senate, and 3 running for governor. Among them, Democrat Stacey Abrams in Georgia and Deidre DeJear in Iowa, both facing tough odds to become the first Black woman elected governor.
And Black women are often called the heart of the Democratic Party. What do you want to see in their roles in terms of change, in terms of more support when it comes to running for office?
What I would like for people to consider when they're trying to support communities of color and Black women in running for office is that this is not a bet. This is a commitment.
And while the majority of Black women running are Democrats, there has been an increase in diversity in the Republican Party, too. GOP candidate Tamika Hamilton, who is running for Congress in Sacramento, California, is thinking about all of the people who blazed the trail for her and others.
I am a candidate for the presidency of the United States.
You know, our ancestors did not go through what they went through for us to give up.
What's your message to Black women who may be watching this saying, I'm inspired, but I'm also nervous?
Keep going. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Don't let your fears try to tell you you can't do it. Don't stop.
And joining me now is the great Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News Washington correspondent and moderator of Washington Week on PBS, and a hero of the journalism game, my sister.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, and we're going to just go and put it up on stage. These are the four on the screen. Val Demings, Sherry Beasley, Natalie James, and Crystal Matthews are all running for United States Senate, Florida, North Carolina, Arkansas, South Carolina, and then in Georgia, Iowa, and Alabama, Stacey Abrams, Deirdre DeJear, and Yolanda Flowers running for governor. Black women, Democrats could not win without Black women. Let's just be clear. Black women turn out at 96% for Democrats and vote at the highest percentage rate of any group of Americans.
Yep.
But I wonder if the presence of a Black woman candidate for statewide office is impacting Black women's enthusiasm. And actually, is that just marginal because it's already high?
It's a great question. I think it's in some ways marginal because Black women are already really hitting the top numbers when it comes to voter turnout, when it comes to enthusiasm. And also Black women, when I talk to them, they're used to showing up for a party at times, like the Democrats at times, that don't have them on the ballot. So when I talk to these women and voters, they say we love this, what they call a movement of Black women showing up and running for office. But they're also saying, well, at the end of the day, is it really going to help Val Demings make that little bit of difference, those 2 or 3% to beat Marco Rubio, I'm not sure. What I can tell you is in talking to these candidates, this double pane glass ceiling that I described, this twin challenge of misogyny and racism that black women face when they're running for office is real. You have people who doubt black women, voters who say, are we going to actually get a black woman who's going to be a governor of a state? They don't, and that impacts money, that impacts the millions and millions of dollars that you need to actually run successfully in this country. Yeah. And then there's the racism, right? We have to talk about the fact when you think about someone like Kamala Harris, she faced birtherism 2.0. We talk a lot about President Obama, but there are people saying this woman who is an American citizen, but who has Jamaican and Indian ancestry, is she eligible to be the VP? And even in Iowa, I had some critics who said, Governor Kim Reynolds, who is running in Iowa, the current Iowa governor, she's running ads against Deidre DeJear, who's the black woman running against her, but they're featuring Cori Bush talking about defunding the police. So there are some who are saying, okay, if you're going to attack a black woman, why are you using another black woman to do that? So there are people that are looking at it saying black women also face the sort of unique challenge of being lumped together, of having racially charged ads going after them. So there's all that going on, but it's a good question.
And for black voters in general, particularly younger voters and black male voters, because there is that sort of, and I don't know that it's true because most black men also vote for Democrats, but is there an impact for black male voters real quick?
It's a great question. That's where black men, that's where the Democratic Party definitely needs to do their most work. Yeah. Black men are not turning out the numbers that Democrats would want them to. Yeah. And then you have the sort of Kanye West factor, which is that you have some black men that are more interested in the sort of power and the message of Trump and sort of the idea of this sort of machismo that's taken over at times in the GOP party. So you have some black men who are more conservative than black women, and that's impacting Democrats' ability to win as well.
Yeah, but I will note that when people make that criticism of black men still overwhelmingly vote for Democrats. We're talking, 89, 90%, which is a lot. But anyway, it is still a thing people talk about. Michelle Sindor, thank you very much, my sister. Appreciate you. All right, coming up next, today's ultra-conservative Supreme Court is the direct result of a decades-long campaign fueled by dark money. So we are pulling out the big guns here, and I'm going to talk to one of the most knowledgeable people that I know on the subject of dark money. Stay right there.